All right.
Yeah,
Any?
people love that photograph. Basically, it was when Big had come to LA for it was the first record wasn't out yet. It was just what was the first album wasn't out yet. It was like this first single, so it was like Juicy on one side and Unbelievable on the other side, and have just come out. And he played in a kind of a small club in Santa Monica, I think the night before. And I used to work sometimes for this Japanese magazine called Warp. No, it was called Warp afterwards. At that time, it was called Fine. And
Fine. Okay.
my friend who was the editor, yeah, come, we're gonna shoot big. So we went up on the roof. I said, yeah, we sit in the chair. I had a reflector because I knew it was kind of screamy, but it wasn't actually. It was a bit more overcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we sit there, then I just put the reflector behind him, took some photos. I remember talking to him a little bit, and of course we were underground heads, so we just thought it was so slick that Puffy put like a pop, uh, like a pure ready for radio thing on one side, which was
Mm-hmm.
Juicy. I mean, yeah, uh, right. It was called Juicy. Yeah, yeah. Big song was called Juicy. The original was called Juicy also, but
It's
um,
my favorite.
well, and the flip was Unbelievable,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which was just tough as nails. It was a
Mm-hmm.
premiere beat, and like, of course, on our side of town, that's what was getting played. But
Right.
obviously, in the more, you know, places where you had to wear shoes and pants and not jeans, or they
Mm-hmm.
were playing Juicy. But and I just remember being like, yo, like that was. I remember telling him, giving him dap, like, yo. And I also remember the other thing I remember was he had super soft hands, man. I remember kind of bugging
Okay.
out. Um, him, I always say him and John Lee Hooker have the softest hands. I don't know why. John Lee
Interesting.
Hooker's hands are actually kind of amazing. There's photos of John Lee Hooker's hands. I think Danny Clinch photographed his hands, but um, yeah, they both had incredibly soft handshakes.
Nice. Um, Grand Wizard Theodore.
Yeah, shot for Rap Pages. Chairman Mao wrote the story. I'm thinking it's mid '90s again, and it was for the DJ edition of Rap Pages, would premiere on the cover, which Eric Johnson shot. Um, and we did an old school um, story inside, and so there was a bunch of old school DJs, and Theodore showed up, and yeah, I just wanted to photograph his hands. I mean, that was it, really, to me. I was like, wow, you just got to the root of something right there with that. So yeah, that was. I always liked that photo.
So I have an alternate reason for showing that. Can you talk a little bit about your time at Rap Pages? Because you worked with them for a while, right?
I did. Yeah, I worked there from like '93 to '96, maybe something like that, or beginning of '97 or something like that. Yeah, I was the photo editor. I mean, there was no photo editor when I started there, and basically, I figured out how to do it by doing it. I mean, that was
Trial by
basically
error,
it.
sure. Or trial
Yeah,
by.
it was. I mean, we were kind of making up the rules for everything. Like we knew our main competition was the Source. They were so far way ahead of us in terms of like being in New York, in terms of their sort of, that was the place to be seen, really. There was the only magazine, really. There was the kind of the kiddie ones, there was like the Word Ups or whatever, but like the
Mm-hmm.
Source was kind of like, yeah, that's what's up. Like if you got a serious record, that's where you want to be. Um, and Rap Age is this kind of renegade, well, become really renegade when half the staff goes to become Ego Trip. That's when it become really proper renegade aspect.
Right.
But there was, we used to do funny stuff. And when it was about fun, it was about like we can afford. We're in a situation where we don't have to trip. We can put Goody Mob on the cover if we want to. And they don't have a record
Mm-hmm.
out yet. We can put, you know, whoever. I mean, we put a lot of folks on the cover before they even had records out at times, you know. We used to make up our own ads for records that didn't exist.
Nice.
There's a lot of funny stuff, and then, you know, that's how the ODB thing happened, and the Cool G rap one I'm thinking of. But like myself and Brent Rollins and Gabe used to sit around and like just kind of imagine covers. I mean, it was kind of like us looking at like the Esquire stuff from the 60s. Like you can see the influence in the Roots cover we did. But yeah, it was the idea that like we had a little bit of budget and we could afford to do something kind of iconic or weird or mimetic or whatever for the cover. And so that's, yeah, we started doing it. And it was some fun. It was some fun times, definitely.
All right, this couch.
Yeah, it's outside my friend. It was like a New Year's Eve, like '99 maybe. Yeah, my friend. It's outside my friend's apartment, and we just pulled up, and I was just like, "Holy shit! What the fuck? They really got this, dude." And I don't know. There's something about like, I'm more interested in the kind of the types of markings that are like either, you know, that weren't necessarily like, if I felt like it was somebody's art already, I would be less likely to shoot it. Or it's somebody's art, but it's been so mangled by the fact that it's been out there. You know, there's a number of like wall drawings and stuff that are in the book that are like that, you know, that have been just the world took another turn on the mural, whatever, you know. Then it becomes more interesting. But if it looked like just somebody's art straight up, it's harder for me to shoot it. It feels weird. But that was, yeah, that couch that was it for me, man. Little outburst.
Your boy Otis, who I've heard you talk about a lot.
Man, that's a good dude right there, man. That's the boss man out here. Funny dude. Hyped a lot of us to a lot of records, dude. One of the toughest set of ears I think I ever heard is Otis. Yeah, I mean, he's amazing, man. He's amazing, and I'm you know, it just keeps going. It's amazing. I mean, like, I feel like he's still reaching new heights, you know, like everything that's happened from the last 12, 18 months or whatever, you know, it's just like, yeah, man, he's still having his time. You know, I felt like it was quiet for a second, but nah, they were just regrouping a little bit. And it's great, man. He deserves it. He's amazing. He really is everything they say he is. He really is. He's a very cool guy. Really cool guy. Really, really, really cool guy. Who's doing it absolutely his own way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not to be taken lightly. That's real. That's life work type of shit that he's doing, you know? So, yeah, I respect that dude a lot. I like that photo a lot, too.
It's a great one. The colors are great.
Thank you.
Couldn't not talk about Dilla.
Yeah. So the Dilla photos, of course. Yeah, their photos were made for Champion Sound. Dilla had gotten sick. What's up, Queep? What's up, Ricky Bruck? What's up, Abby, man? People joining from Ethiopia. Look at that. Abby just became a dad. Abby.
Aw, congrats.
Love you, brother. Congratulations. Anyway, so it kept getting put off, and then me and Eric, we got the call with a few days' notice, like, can you guys go to Detroit like Thursday or something? And we went there, hung out, spent the night in a hotel, had some drama in the hotel, went and hung out with Dilla the next day. And then we started around, I don't know, I suppose we started at 2 p.m. We were with him until, I suppose, 8 or 9. We hit 2 record spots, and we photographed at the house. And I think before we went to see him, I photographed at a different record spot on like 7 Mile. Anyway, that was it. And it was nice, man. It was very sweet, actually. Somebody had given him a copy of Keeping Time, and he said that he and Common were watching it, and he really wanted to make a beat out of it. So, of course, for us, that was just like, certified, like we're doing the right thing. Um, and then I just remember the house was just, Jesus Christ. I don't know if it's how well it's known, but I think it's in the 33 and a third book. But like Ma Dukes put like the duster with him, in the coffin. Like they put in a duster, and it's because like it was. We were kind of like, does anybody live in this house? Like, it looked like a model house. You know what I mean? You were like, everything looks exactly perfect, and the furniture nothing looks, and the studio was the same. And we were thinking, does he live in LA or where does he live? He live in New York, and this is like his other house or something. But nah, he was that absolutely, meticulous. Like I remember Badu said it is absolutely true, which is like the type of person that turn all the labels to the front in the refrigerator. You know what I mean? Like if this is your house, like you don't actually have to turn all the labels. You know what's in the bottle. So yeah, we hung out with him. It was fun, man. I remember. We were just like super fanned out, man. I was definitely intimidated. Like I was like, wow, man, this dude. Like, because for us, to be honest, for a few years there, like it was kind of between Doom, Dilla, and Otis. Or related projects or whatever, like, larger family of those three cats was kind of carrying it for us. Like it was kind of a Fat Beats moment, you know what I mean? Like we were just buying Mad 12s. It was all about who was making the beats. And so, I remember Eric, we were saying to him like, yo, you should come to LA, man. And then he did. He actually did come to LA for different reasons. Obviously not because we told him, but and then we got to know him more. We went to Brazil with him and whatnot. But it was always, I have to be honest, it was always a bit touch and go as far as making photographs of Jay, because there was this kind of notion that he was sick and that it was altering his physical, like he physically was blowing up and shrinking, and he didn't look like himself. Even the photos for J-Lib, like Jeff, I remember they got the photos retouched because they couldn't believe how different he looked than even just the BBE record, which had been fairly come out at the same, around the same time. So it was always a thing of like being nervous, like, yeah, I would have took more photos in Brazil, but he wasn't feeling good, and when someone's not feeling good, you ain't trying to be putting a camera in their face or whatever. But yeah.
Was that photo of him kind of unfocused on purpose?
Which you mean out of focus?
Sorry, out of focus. Sorry. Maybe not out of focus.
Well,
but just
that's a George Pitts, God rest him, who used to be the photo editor of Vibe magazine, used to call that graphic obstructions.
That's a much better way of putting it than I did.
Those out of focus bits, yes, they were there on purpose. Yes. For sure. Yeah. Like
it's a happy accident.
Part of like what's liberating about like the kind of photography that we do is that I'm not that concerned a lot of times with what's the light, is that the ideal light. I'm more interested in trying to find a way to make an interesting photograph in a situation. So to add extra lights into his studio to me would have been kind of weird. Like there's lights there, just use what's there. And so then you end up finding other ways to make a photograph interesting, finding other ways to frame people or to, that kind of thing. So that's what that is, really. That's just me there with a Hasselblad, just listening to him, listen to beats or drop the needle on a record and just, talking to him and just trying to figure it out, really. And then that's what comes, that's what you get. So
last one, because I love the story behind this photo so much.
Yeah, so this is a heavy one. So basically it's a photograph I made in like 90, I want to say it was like 98 or 97. in Havana. And it's just, it's actually a kind of, I won't say it's a common photograph, but it's, I'm not the first photographer to photograph kids jumping off the pier on the Malecon in Havana, in old Havana, into the water. It's kind of a tourist thing, but there was just something about, there's always something about the gesture that, makes you see the photograph in a different way. And that was one of those photographs where he's just hung exactly where in my mind, like it's exactly the right place for him to be. He's not going down yet. He's going out, he's flying, he's free. And there'd been a tsunami, I think in Indonesia, and some friends were organizing a benefit. And so they asked me, would I make a print of that photograph? Oh no, would they let me use that photograph for the flyer? And I let them use it. And so then I decided to print it up big to be auctioned for the charity or whatever. And at that time, Dilla was in Cedar Sinai. And Egon said that while they were waiting for him to wake up, they were trying to put some things into his room. Like they were going to bring the drum machine, and they were trying to bring things into his room that would, it was very sterile. It was a very sterile environment, and to be there for as long as he was there, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So anyway, so he said, maybe you got some extra prints of Axelrod or Lalo Schifrin or whatever lying around. Maybe you can put together some of them in an envelope for me, and I'll hang them up in the room. We hadn't been there yet, and so I was like, cool. And so when I saw that photo, it's a funny thing, man. I saw that photo, I actually got nervous because I thought, I actually understood what the image was about, and I was nervous to give him the image because I didn't want him to think I was thinking there's a death aspect to that photo. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you understand how photography works and you understand like the gesture involved, you understand it's a person in between states. Okay. And so I got a little like shiver, and then I was like, nah, it's just a great photo of somebody diving in the ocean. Anyway, he gets out the hospital, goes back to the house, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. And at the funeral, believe it or not, the photo was there, which was weird. And Common, I think, was the one that told me, basically, that that was the photograph he had in front of his drum machine when he passed, like at the end. That's what he was looking at when he was making those last beats. And I was kind of like, I remember what I was thinking when I chose that photograph to give to him. And so I don't know whether I spoke to Common about it then and there, or I spoke to him about it afterwards. But he had spoken to Dilla about it, and Dilla had the same understanding, basically. Yeah, but that's what it was. And so, yeah, it's just one of those. For the longest time, I used to have it on I don't know whether it was on my MySpace or something, and people used to think it was Dilla. Which was like, because, the story underneath was like mentioned his name, so they just saw the name and they saw the thing, and they were like, oh, they assumed it must be him. But no, that's the story. Yeah, it was a photograph that it's a body in between air and water for an absolute split second. So it's in a transitional space, and it doesn't look like it's ready for water, and it doesn't look like it's jumping. It's just caught right in the middle between the two. He's flying, and somehow that resonated with him. And as it turns out, it resonated with me for the same reasons. And that just shows you sometimes, man, like, art has a very interesting way of, how much music he made that spoke to me or spoke to millions of people. You know what I mean? I never really seen people like cry openly the way they did at Sweet from My Dukes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that was our way of saying thank you. You know what I mean? That was as best a shot as we got at saying thank you. So, and wow, I mean, whew, like, what Miguel and Carlos did, like that's that's really some divine inspired work. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, I have to be honest with you, is the day after Suite for Ma Dukes. So that was a Monday. We're supposed to interview Ma Dukes, and we got the word that she was going to go to the grave, and then she was going to come to the house. And then we got word, someone called us and said, no, actually she's not going to the grave, she's just going straight to the house. And what she said was, when she come to the house anyway, she sit down, we start talking to her, she says that after everything that's happened, I know he's okay today. I don't need to go there today. And we were like, wow, that was a special few days there. That was really a special moment. A special moment for us, and a special moment, it's just rarely that something like that happens and it gets captured in a way that's appropriate, and Bob Power mixed it, and you know what I'm saying, like all the things that happened. And so that was a very, very proud of being involved in that project. And I know all of us, that was a spectacular kind of community effort there. That was amazing. A lot of things fell into place at the end. Like Taleb showed up out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy. It was dope. Common came from the Oscars. From
like right from the Oscars.
Yeah, he was wearing
in like a suit.
Yep, but he made it. He made it. He figured out a way to make it, and he made it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was very special. Tom Bacon was the visionary really behind a lot of that stuff. He was a marketing executive at VTech. I almost spaced it. Oh my goodness. At VTech, which was they're a toy company.
They're so rad. My son has some of their stuff.
Yeah, for sure. My daughter too. And actually, the best music toy she has is a VTech toy. But they were trying to launch this idea of internet radio, and Tom had this idea to build a blog and to build a huge amount of followers using unique content. And the idea was that you could make what he was calling it. Like he had a great name for it. It was a legacy moment. That's what it was. It's just like you're coming out of this concert. You might not have known. You didn't know about Dilla beforehand. You didn't. But you just saw and felt something so momentous that you want to tell everybody you know about it. And it's tied to this blog where you can show them it. And I mean, it's, to be honest, I mean, it's a very future thinking kind of, I mean, it is a very, a model made special by people like the Red Bulls and the whatever. But yeah, Tom Bacon figured that out. Amazing guy. Yeah, gave us the opportunity to do it. So, and then really, which is especially rare, was actually, beautifully knowledgeable enough to know that the best thing to do is to let the people who know what they're doing do what they're doing. Which sometimes isn't the way it works out, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, anyways, good times.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I got to see the performance.
Buys was there. T-Bake. That's right.
I got to see the performance in I'm trying to remember, Lincoln Center. Miguel came, Ma Dukes there. I got to see them perform it a few years ago.
How would you like it?
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's great, really, really great. I remember one time, I forget what it was, but I remember going out somewhere on a Sunday night. It's probably one of Assad's events, to see Rich Medina play, and Rich Medina see me walk in, and I mean, I know Rich, but I mean, I look like, Rich is like,
he's like this tall.
Yeah, but I mean, besides that, it's like, I mean, Rich is an international traveling DJ, knows all the heads, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. Anna Tijoux. What's up, Anna? And Rich was DJing, and he seen me coming in, and he played like, I don't know, one of the Stakes. I think he played Stakes is High. And,
nice.
and I kind of felt like, I wanted to tear up a little bit. I was like, wow, that was crazy. That was too crazy.
Yeah, he played one of the Donuts events, and I got to interview him a few years ago.
Yeah, Rich is an amazing guy, man. Amazing spirit.
Very much so.
Donovan. Respect Donovan. Tona. Judah, indeed.
All your
Boys.
people.
Yeah, bunch of people. That's good.
When I interviewed you last time, you were saying about possibly making a visual accompaniment because of all the video footage you had during all the shooting. Did anything ever happen with that?
Oh. The phone fell over. Yeah, look. You see that? See all that stuff there? See all those hard drives? That's Ghost Notes.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there's 57 hard drives. So yeah, I mean, I just got a small grant to start, and
Nice.
yeah, I'm finishing something else, and then I will, and then I'll, yeah, then I'll begin in earnest. I mean, it's a lot of it is in my head, and I've been keeping notes when I think of things for years. So yeah, let's see if we can.
I remember you saying you just needed the manpower, like you needed to be able to have the.
Yeah, I mean, shit, we could have a team. Get this done in a month. Get like 12 editors here or something. But yeah, I've started the large job of figuring out a way to thread. I wrote it down here actually.
Starting's the hardest part.
I have 707,000 photos, 160,000 songs, and 50,000 videos. Anyways, the songs I'm not super concerned with. I'm more concerned with the videos and the audio that's attached to them. But yeah, crazy stuff. I just recently found a bunch of Axelrod video that I didn't realize I had. And there's some really beautiful stuff. But even going back, going back to the footage of Earl Palmer for the first DJ Shadow video, or like, it's now I'm ready to deal with that stuff. Yeah. What's up, Nars?
Just because we only have an hour before we get cut off.
Yep.
Do you want to leave and come back in?
Yeah, are we almost at an hour right now?
Yeah. I have a clock to keep me on it because the other day I had a 90-minute interview, so we had to do the same thing.
Okay. I'm cool. As long as everyone else is cool. I'm
come
catching
back. We're
half of
gonna end
what's
and come
going on
back.
below, but man, thank you for whoever is there. Please continue. We will capital AK. I see you. We will jump back in just 1 second, right? Or I don't know. You're gonna do the same thing you just did?
Yep, I'll invite you in and all that. Just get back on my live.
All right, sounds good.